What's up guys? I'm here with my brother Owen today, and this is going to be a very different video than what's normally on my channel. So if you're not interested, feel free to skip. This is kind of just a video for anyone who's going to be doing a similar thing to their car. So yeah, there's not a lot of info about it on mine, so I decided to make a video. And with that, I'll turn it over to my brother and he'll tell you a little bit about his car.
Alright guys, so this is my 2016 Subaru BRZ. As you can see, it's wrapped fully yellow. This is sunflower yellow. And not a lot done to it so far. I've got some Cosmos Racing wheels, some BC coilovers, just a few tasteful mods for now. But over the next few weeks, we are going to be throwing a HKS turbo kit on this thing, giving it a little bit more power. And yeah, that's what you guys are here for.
Let's go.
So the first couple things we did, first of all, disconnected the negative terminal on the battery. Just make sure the car's off. And then right now Owen's working on taking this this plastic piece, just like a trim piece, off. There are a couple of push pins, like 3 or 4 push pins, maybe not even that many, and then a couple of screws that are just 10mm. So all of those are off. This plastic trim piece just pulls off like that. And then the other thing we did is just these, what are these things called?
The side markers. The
side markers, yeah, we just pulled these off. They just twist off of this light here. So both side markers are off. This plastic trim piece is off. And now the bumper should just come off. Here's one side. There we go. Bumper's off.
Going.
The other thing we're trying to do is just be super organized with all of our bolts and pieces. Putting all of the bolts we take off in bags with labels. Those are the side markers we pulled off earlier. Because as you can see, there are like 6 different boxes here. All of them just with tons of different parts and pieces. So we just want to make sure we're organized with everything because there's a lot going on here. All right, so we were just looking over the steps. It went from disconnect the battery to take off the bumper, and the very next step is draining the engine oil and the coolant. So I guess we're jumping right into it. I guess, I mean, that's the next step on here. So I think if we want to continue with it, like, that's what we're gonna do. But yeah, just this is jumping right in here. So
yeah, I guess we're just gonna get right into it.
So we're just starting to drain the oil here. It's just a 14mm socket. Nice. Spilled a little bit, but that's okay. And there goes the oil. Let me grab some towels.
Alright guys, so we just got the oil draining right now. As you can see down there. Next step is draining the coolant. And from there, we're gonna start removing some parts on here. Crash bar.
The oil is done draining now. So just gonna pull this out and then empty it into this like carton over here. Drains the oil and cleaned up this drain pan. And the next step is to do the coolant. Neither of us have done a coolant drain before, but it looks like it's just this plug. Just connecting a hose to this plug that comes out of the radiator. So I think we're gonna try that and then run the hose into the drain pan, and hopefully that works. Just push it all the way on. So we just connected a hose to this nozzle here, and that's going to run to the drain pan. So we're just gonna turn that switch. Should be counterclockwise, and hopefully the coolant starts coming out. Oh, there's coolant. There's a view of the whole setup. We just let the coolant finish draining, and now we're gonna pull the hose off.
Make sure to tighten this up first and pull this guy off.
we go. Yep, so we tightened that back up, and next step is to remove the coolant overflow reservoir. So all you do is pull this hose off, and then there's 2 bolts, and this whole tank comes off.
Hold it on to something on the bottom thing here.
Little clip at the bottom, but there's the overflow coolant reservoir, so just gonna empty that. We're moving on to the next steps, and it says remove the front bumper reinforcement plate from both sides, number 4. We're not exactly sure what that is. I think we're gonna just start taking some of this stuff off, like that we know needs to come off, and go from there. So
that's just one clip.
So we're thinking these might be what those reinforcement plates are, but I don't know. There's the other one on this side. They just are these plastic pieces here, and there's just one push pin to pull those out. The next thing it says is the radiator cover plate, which we're pretty sure is this plastic piece along here. Definitely appears to cover the radiator. There's a couple push pins. That might be all it is.
On the diagram, it does say there's 4 of these on the bottom of the 4 of the push pins. So that means that should be it right here.
Sweet. Damn, getting good at those push pins.
All 4 off. This should.
I think there's 2 more. There's 1, and 1 more up here. Sweet. Yeah, I kind of feel like this stuff would get in the way, which I don't know exactly what this is, but
this you know, you have to remove this later on, so
okay.
We might have to get this off first before we can slide that out. So here's the radiator what's it called? The radiator cover that we just took off, and I believe this intake air duct right here is what's blocking it. So I'm gonna go ahead and take these 2 bolts off, get the air duct off, and then we should be able to get to the radiator cover. Alright, so I got these 2 10mm bolts off. Believe this air duct should pull out.
Sweet.
And that way we get to the radiator cover in here, and there we go.
Awesome. Next up is
the horn.
The horn.
So the horn is just this little small guy right here. Looks like it's just gonna be held on by one 10mm on top.
Is it a 10?
It's gotta be a 12.
12? Alright, so there is part of the horn. There's a lot of wires here, so we kind of have to figure out where we disconnect it. It runs to this over here too, which we think might be another part of the horn. So we just, this wire that the horn is plugged into goes into a whole big harness up here. So we just disconnected it from this piece, and we'll see if we have to do anything with this, but for now that at least is off. Might try to do the same thing on this one here. This looks like another just like push pin or something.
This might be the more important one here, just because it's in the way of the radiator, and that's mostly where we're going to be working on this project. So I think this one might not even have to come off, but we'll just leave it off in case.
We just pulled the, I think this is another part of the horn. We took out this screw and mounted top right there in that hole. And now we're going to try and disconnect it here with a flathead.
Looks like it should both come off. So we can take that guy.
7 and 8 are kind of together, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just that
The rear
underneath
bracket
piece.
support will be modified and installed later.
Okay, so 7 and 8 are the next steps.
So I was looking. I know we need. Do we already have flatheads out? Yeah. So I know we need flatheads, and then.
Oh, there's one flat, and we have a 10 and a 12, so that should be enough.
Okay.
Unless there's any other bolts down here. There's just definitely some push pins, and then some like maybe 10 or 12 millimeter bolts. But we're taking off this bottom plastic piece here. I don't know what it is, but these push pins along the bottom here, all of them are just so hard to get out. A couple of them were just, I mean, like this, they're just snapping in half when you try and pull them. We got them out, and we got this. Oh, there's one more here.
One more clip.
One more, but we might have to buy some more when we reinstall this, because this thing, so many of these just got snapped. But so we finished up this front bumper cover, just the plastic piece on the bottom, and we're moving on to this. They call it the front bumper bracket. So Owen's working on that right now. Just a few. What is it? 10 mils.
Yeah, just looks like 3 10 millimeters down here.
And it's this big plastic piece right here. We're just draining the washer fluid. We might honestly just pull this whole tank off. That allows us to get to the crash bar super easily. Plus, we don't really know if you need, I mean, you don't really even need washer fluid. So might honestly just remove the whole thing and never even put it back on. We'll see. Alright, so now the coolant's still draining, or the washer fluid's still draining. We got the nice sound of a fountain coming from this thing. And now we're going to, Owen's working on taking some of these bolts off on this front crash bar.
Alright, so we just took all 8 bolts off this crash bar here, and just resting on 2 hooks right now, so I'm just going to go ahead and pull up.
Okay, this side's out.
Alright, there we go.
Crash bar. Is it heavy?
Not too bad. Hold on there. And then this is... Do you remember how the intake works?
Yeah.
Like, is this like...
That's the MAF sensor.
Yeah.
The mass airflow sensor.
Is that like, do you have to use that?
Yeah, just like it's 2 screws, and then that whole piece pulls off.
Okay.
Like those little tiny screws.
I don't know what this is either. But I assume...
It's just part of the air. Like this, you should be able to just like push it down on the MAF and then pull towards the front of the car, or towards the back of the car.
I don't know, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
I just gotta take the bolts off first.
Okay, so we just did disconnect the MAF sensor. Just a little push tab and pull it back, super straightforward. And then I was gonna tell you guys what's the next steps are.
Alright, so basically what we're doing now is taking out this whole air intake system, and just gonna start at the top here with a 10 millimeter. I believe we might have to take this one out as well, and then there's gonna be one more down in the engine bay.
Yeah, so there's one bolt way down there as part of the air intake system. I have the same thing on my Subi, but just using an extension. And you should be able to reach it. 10 millimeter down there.
Alright, there we go. Got that one out.
Just to recap so far, one there, and then there's the second one. It was down there. So I think maybe this is the third one. Okay, so we're taking off pretty much the whole system. So I'm gonna unscrew and loosen this clamp. That's right there, and then you just loosen it. It doesn't need to come all the way off. And then we're going to do this one here, and hopefully this whole system will just pull out towards the front of the car. Yep. Alright, so that one came off. So there you guys can see this is the whole system. And then we need to loosen this one. and then this whole
This guy over here as well.
Oh yeah.
I don't even know if I can finish the SI by midnight.
We're gonna call it for tonight. Made some good progress. There's a few things we're like just a little confused on, but we're gonna get some friends' help in the future here, and then continue on.
I'm about to call it for the night. Basically what we did tonight, we got a lot of work done. Set this light here in the engine bay.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard that one, but we just spent like 45 minutes trying to figure out how to get a light hanging in the engine bay. This is why car things always take so much longer than you're expecting. But anyway, it's night 2. The plan is to continue removing things. Let's see. I don't know what we have to do next. I think it's like we just took the hood latch off, and I think we're pulling some of these metal frame pieces off so that we can get to the fan down there. So I think that's the plan. We just got an impact wrench too, so that should help a lot and speed things up. Yeah. There are 2 bolts, one here, one there, and then 2 more bolts down at the bottom. So this thing should pull off.
Alright guys, so a little update here. We just got the whole air chamber system out, and we got it plugged down underneath there. We also took out the small bracket here that had to come out. And next steps from here, we're gonna try and figure out how to get this fan screwed out, and we'll just go from there. I'm trying to get it clamped.
It's a little difficult, but there's like a little tab that you have to pinch. And while you're pinching it, pull the fan towards the back of the car. There's the little tab right there, and then you pinch that. This is pull out now. I think it's just tight.
What's next?
What's that? Headers? Also, just make sure you unclip all of the electronics, the wiring going to the fan. And we just did that.
One more.
Oh shoot, there's one more, really? Oh, okay, there's one more. Alright, now all the wiring's unplugged. All the bolts are out. And now it's time to get the fan out. It's a tight fit.
A few moments later.
Alright, there we go. Alright guys, so we got the fan out now and everything we needed to get out up here. So next step, we're gonna head down here and pull out these headers. Alright guys, so we just got the heat shield or skid plate or whatever it's called off from underneath. That way we can access the headers and pull those off.
There are the headers. And we have access to them from below now. It's over there. It's over there, it's fine.
Huh?
I saw where it went.
Okay. Fuck. This is what I was really worried about.
Can you get that from a different angle right now?
No.
You can't go between the headers there?
Alright guys, so it took a little bit of work, but we just now got the headers off. As you can see, there's nothing down there anymore. And here's what they look like.
So like Owen was saying, we just got the headers off. And I think we're on the last step of this removal process, which is just taking off the oil pan. So we drained the oil yesterday, so we're pretty sure the oil should be dry. Or there shouldn't be any more oil left in the pan, but that's the next thing to do.
There's actually like 2 more.
2 more. There, got this. just set the intake down. Come off a little?
No, it's definitely sealed.
Alright guys, this project is gone to shit today. We've been trying for the last two hours to try and get this damn oil pan off. And we've been cranking bolts under here, trying to get this thing off. And it's just not coming off. So honestly, we're just gonna call it a night. Because this shit is a disaster right now.
Fuck this shit.
As you can see, the engine's just gone. Or not the whole engine, but huge chunks missing. Car doesn't run. Oil pan's stuck. It's like 20 degrees outside. Man. Fuck this car. What did we just find under here? Check this out. Check out this leak, guys. That is not good. I don't think oil's supposed to go there. And check out this side. Holy shit. This is what happens when you run pop tunes for like a year straight. Anyway, engine's pretty much open down below.
Don't run pop tunes.
Don't run pop tunes. Don't use oil pans. I would rate this oil pan 0 out of 10. We're probably just gonna do oil pan delete, honestly. Don't need oil pans. Pain in the butt. So taking that to the shit box. Yeah, we're gonna try again tomorrow. It might take us a whole day to get the oil pan off. We'll see. And we were planning to do the timing cover, and that apparently has the same like seal in between, so I don't know how that's gonna go, but for now it's almost midnight and we're done, so we're gonna call it and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
So it's a new day now. We just took a trip to Harbor Freight this morning. We got a bunch of new tools here, as you can see. Just a few different things to try and pry off the oil pan, because that gasket on there is really sticky. I'm sure some of you guys have gone through that before, and thankfully we got the right tools and we were able to pry that thing right off. And now I believe we are fully done with the removal process of this turbo kit.
Alright, what's up guys? It is a few days later now. Basically what happened was we finished pulling everything out from the car, and we found out that there was a pretty good sized oil leak from the timing cover. So of course, while we were in here and working on the car, we decided that it would probably be best to get that fixed. And that took a while. Like, we had never done anything like that before, and it was a pretty involved process to pull off all of the belts and pulleys and everything, and then getting the actual timing cover off was a real pain. We didn't do a video or film any of that because that's not what this video is about. It's about the turbo. But we're back now, and we're gonna get started on assembling everything. So the first few steps are, I think, making some cuts in the front crash bar, and we're gonna start there. There's a lot to do, but Owen's got the week off, and I'm gonna take some time off from work, and we're gonna see if we can get this banged out. And yeah, so let's get to it. All right, so we're gonna try and cut this thing. Neither of us have used an angle grinder before, so it's gonna be interesting, but I'm pretty sure, I'm gonna see if it spins first. I'm pretty sure you just push this in.
Boy.
Oh boy, I think it's tightened. Just cut it though, right?
Send it.
All right, you see the spark? See, it's gonna spark like crazy.
I was getting smoked over here. It's a smoke show for me.
I didn't make much of a cut.
It smells nice. I mean, hopefully you don't burn that in the car.
I don't think the car would catch fire.
You never know. I gotta step way back.
Yeah. It's definitely cutting. I just need to like secure it because it's kind of moving. But it's definitely cutting.
It's a smoke show for me, y'all.
You can stand to the side too. Alright, so we made a little bit of progress. We're just going to keep working at it now. Now it's cutting.
That's definitely cutting.
Jeez, that's a lot of sparks.
That was a shitload of sparks.
Yeah.
You can't accidentally cut back.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Think about all that matters is if the intercooler fits.
That's true. Guys, the only reason we're cutting this is so that this boy can fit. This is the only thing that matters. Right here.
So we don't really care if there's cuts in places where there shouldn't be, or it's messy, or...
Probably gonna get an aftermarket drift bar anyway, so.
Loud as hell. So you know we got our COVID mask to protect our face, and then we got these noise canceling headphones to work as our earbuds. So we're gonna keep cutting. This looks totally legit. Safety. We take safety as our #1 priority here. Can't use the mask because it fogs the goggles, so scratch that. But we still got the goggles and we got our ear protection.
Alright.
Actually, these headphones work so great. Like, I can still hear it, but literally, like, it's so much quieter. So, if you don't have earbuds, just put on your noise-canceling headphones, and they work like a dream. So, made some good progress there. Just have a bit more to go. Yeah, you can see the cut. And, yeah, just making some room for the intercooler. We cut a little bit into that, but I think I can push down on it, so I think we made it through.
That looks through to me.
So we gotta do the same thing on this side.
Yeah.
Let's try and get that one.
You made it all the way through on that one.
I think so, yeah. And I think I don't know exactly why yet, but it does say to like leave these 2 bolts. This is the top of the crash bar, and it says to leave these 2 bolts. So I don't know what those are for yet, but we still have them. So I think that's a good sign. I think we have to cut down here, but we drew a Sharpie out. Maybe we just try and cut this first.
On the other side?
On the front side. Let's see, what's the best way to cut this? Continue cutting. Don't forget your ear protection. This is approved too by the government.
Oh yeah.
If you're working in your BRZ and you need to cut your crash bar, you don't have earbuds. I don't know what they're called.
Protection.
Ear protection. You can use your sound canceling, noise canceling headphones, and they work.
All right.
And they're approved. So, just a little tip there for you guys. So yeah.
I don't know why, guys, but for some reason it smells like burning metal. If that's not supposed to happen, let us know. Clean cut.
Clean cut. Look at that clean cut.
Ooh, super clean.
Alright, also, you can totally stand it up. It's not going to fall at all.
Yeah.
You can tell we're pros because of how clean the cuts are. Like, look at this one line.
Exactly.
All the way across.
Exactly.
Got that thing off. There was like this bracket in here which was causing us a lot of trouble because we only have a 4.5 inch blade on the angle grinder, and it was a little too small to reach in there, so we kind of had to make some extra cuts, but it came off. There's kind of what the piece looks like. So I don't know, we might I think it would be smart to grab the intercooler and test fit it in there and make sure we made a cut that's wide enough. So I'm pretty sure the intercooler fits in between here, which is the area we cut out. Yeah, so intercooler fits. I think we're done with the cutting for now. We just finished the first aftermarket addition or modification. Pretty simple, just installing this. It's an M6 L15 bolt with an M6 nut, and supposedly this is where the horn is going to mount. So you just put it on the right side of the crash bar. Just goes right through. There's already a hole drilled and everything right there, so just put that in and that's all you need to do.
Alright guys, so Max is over here measuring the holes for the intercooler bracket right here. This is the front bumper support bracket, and then that's the intercooler bracket, and basically we have to mount that onto here, and then the intercooler will mount onto there.
Onto this. But we have to drill 2 holes into the front bumper bracket for these M6 nuts to basically go through, and like that. So we just gotta drill 2 holes here for these bolts to fit. We don't really have metal drill bits, so we're just gonna use the ones we have. Okay, honestly, this we might need metal drill bits. This does not want to work. These are just wood ones, so I'm not surprised, but that might be a trip to the Home Depot then. I got the 2 holes drilled, and this, I think it's the frame bracket. It's this piece here. You can see the 2 holes. A little disappointed. I don't know exactly what happened with my measurements, but something was off. I think it should work, but the holes aren't just like, they're not perfectly straight. Again, like, I don't think it's a huge deal, but just more frustrated that I couldn't get it lined up right. But moving on to the next thing now, which is cutting this piece here. I'm gonna give this Dremel a shot. I've got a metal blade on there, just because it's like a smaller piece, thinner piece, and more precise. I think the Dremel might work a little bit better than the big angle grinder. So I'm gonna try that and see if we can take off these 2 pieces. I'm getting hammered hard. Alright, we just finished that piece. Honestly, the Dremel worked really well. I mean, it's not super clean, but like, it's better than some of the other people's we've seen.
Like, I think it kind of started burning through my gloves.
Oh jeez. Yeah, I was over here getting blasted, but you know, this thing was moving around so much, so he was the champion holding it here, or staying there and holding it down. But yeah, this just needs to fit for the intercooler piping, and if it's too small, super easy to bring this back out, the Dremel, just with a metal cutting blade, and just take a little bit more off. But for now, I think that pretty much follows the outline, so we're gonna move on to this side.
Alright, so we just finished cleaning, or not cleaning, cutting up this radiator support here. As you can see, we made 2 cuts up here on the front side, and then we made 2 here on the back side. And basically these cuts are just to make sure that the intercooler piping can run through here smoothly and it won't get hit by this radiator support. And for this back side, we were kind of confused because there's 1 bolt, or I think it's this side, or up here. There's 1 bolt on the right side, and then there was no bolt on the other side, and that was actually just for the air cleaner case, which is the stock part that we removed, and it won't be going back on. So we just decided to cut straight through the bolt, and yeah.
Next step is trimming the fan, or is that what it's called? Fan shroud. Fan shroud. So I mean, it just shows you here. It's pretty self-explanatory. It has circles and it shows you where to cut. But that's what we're gonna do now. Alright, so we were trying to put the exhaust manifold in because we thought that would be super easy, just a couple bolts. But we were putting the studs in, and then we put a nut on here to try and tighten the stud into the manifold, and the nut just got stuck on there and ended up being like over an hour of trying to get that stupid nut to come off, because I didn't realize it, but it was like one of those locking nuts with like a little rubber piece, and there's just nothing we could do to get it off. But eventually used this boy to clamp it down and was able to finally get it to come off, but it took a lot of trying. Like I said, it was like over an hour now of what was going to be just a short little extra bit to put the exhaust manifold in. We're gonna call it tonight, or yeah, we're gonna call it tonight, because that was just way more work, and then go back at it tomorrow and see if we can get it to go on easier. How's it going, guys? It is the next morning. Got quite a bit of stuff done this morning, so that was good. Pretty much just continuing to follow the little instruction guide they gave us and moving forward. So just a little summary of the stuff we did. First of all, cleaned out the oil pan and scraped off all of the RVT. So we did that, and then drilled a hole in the oil pan, and that's going to be for this oil return pipe. Our friend's going to weld that on. Neither of us know how to weld, so we're gonna get some help with that. So drilled a hole and kind of marked and test fit it. In the car, I installed the headers. Didn't torque them down or anything because they might have to come off, but the headers are currently in the car, bolted up right now. The turbo is also just on there. We wanted to test fit it, just see how it looked in the car. So there it is. Looks pretty sweet. And then you can see all of these cuts that we made yesterday, which is where the intercooler piping is going to run. So so far that's looking good. And then the other thing I did is on the engine side of the oil pan, scraped off all the RVT and cleaned that up, so that when we are reinstalling the oil pan, it's all ready to go. So made a good amount of progress. Just gonna wait until our friend's available to weld and help us with that tomorrow. So we're gonna see if we can find some other things to work on. We're thinking of trying to mount the intercooler and getting that ready. So we're gonna work on that now. All right, so we're trying to, there's this, it's like a solenoid that we have to clamp a couple of the hoses, and there's this 10mm bolt in the back, and we're just trying to tighten it, but there's like no good angle to get to it. So Owen is like basically in the engine, on top of the engine, trying to get any turns on this 10mm.
I'm getting turns.
Okay, it doesn't need to be super tight, but yeah, so basically it's so hard to see, and the instructions were horrible for this part, but there's this solenoid in there. You can see.
Look.
Yeah, you can see the 2 clamps that we put on, just on these hoses, and that's to prevent them from. That's probably tight enough if you're getting turns. That's to prevent these hoses from flying off when they're under boost. But this 10mm in the back is such a pain to try and get to it. Alright guys, update. We've been working for like 30 minutes. You have to clamp these hoses so that they don't pop off, and there's one. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but it's way down there. Right there. And they are just so tight. And it's like, I swear it's so hard to get these things on. There's just like no room in the Subaru engine bay, and it's so far down. Like, so we've been working at it for like 30 minutes to an hour now, trying to just clamp this thing. So this is a real pain, but of course we don't want any boost leaks. So
basically what's going on here, we just finished all of the modifying of factory parts, except for welding the oil pan, and we're gonna have a friend come over and weld the oil return for us. But we did everything we could. So basically we cut the radiator support so that the pipes, the intercooler piping, will fit through. We also cut the front crash bar in order for the front mount intercooler to fit. So we also clamped up the hoses on the canister purge solenoid that is underneath the intake manifold. So it's a little bit difficult to get to. We just had to take a bolt out on the back side. You can't really see it. And we also had to take throttle body off to get to that, as well as AC and the pulley. So that wasn't the easiest to get to, but we had to clamp those just because if we don't, we're gonna have some boost leaks. And last thing we did for modifying factory parts, so we also clamped these hoses on the back. I already put this cover back on so you can't see it, but there's a hose in here that runs down there, the blow-by hose. So that one was kind of a pain. On top it was easy, but down here it's super tight, and it took a while to get it out and then clamp it back down because it's so tight. But yeah, I mean, we finished everything up, so that's all the modifying of factory parts.